Hey guys, I'm Guidetti, and today I'm going to show you a very simple exercise that anybody can do at home. We're going to practice on an egg, which anybody has. We practice on the nude model at the Florence Academy, but we can practice on whatever we want. And in fact, an egg is going to be great because I'm going to show you how to draw this with straight lines. And when you draw with straight lines, it forces you to see angles and the point in which that angle starts and stops, and just to be able to see the whole shape more correctly. So let's get started. What we're going to need is basically pencil, paper, egg, and an eraser. And so I have the kneaded eraser, and then I have a B pencil, H, and HB. And essentially the B pencil is going to be softer, H is going to be harder, HB is kind of in between. So in this order, let's say. And so we have our egg here, and a nice little trick to set it up. We're going to take the kneaded eraser, all right? And we're just going to take a little piece like this. We're going to kind of fold it, squish it. I'm going to place it right here, which is probably not a good idea. My hand might hit it, but you know what? I'm a professional and everything comes easy to me, and I never have to try, so I think I can do this. All right, let's do it. So I'm going to set it up right here. Be careful not to press it too hard. And there you go. We got our setup. Now, ideally you do this next to a window on a table. So you have a light source coming in, and then it's going to be hitting the egg. So you have your light source, and then you have a shadow, and then a cast shadow, and that's ideally what you want. My video setup, I have lights coming from both directions, so it's not ideal, but that's okay. I'm going to be able to show you guys anyway how to do this. So we're going to start right now with the in-between with an HB pencil. And you know what? If you just have a normal pencil, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you 3 steps, all right? 3 steps right now, and of how to build this up. And basically, number 1, the first step is just mark the extreme points, which means the top, the bottom, the left, and the right, all right? So what we're going to do, we're going to look, we're going to get the bottom point, and we're going to try to draw it the same size we see it, and you just kind of eye it. And I'm going to go through and get the top point, all right? And then we're going to go to the side and use comparative measurement, which means really double check how high this is, and then how wide is it to how high it is. It's going to be my egg, for example, and every egg you'll find is different. My egg is much thinner than it is tall, okay? And so then at this point, I'm going to continue to work, but to train your mind, you can stop at this point and keep it at this stage, and just keep on double checking and really spend some time and get these points correct. And notice, you know, I say, okay, well, this needs to come up a little bit. All right, well, we take the kneaded eraser, we shape it, we squish it into this knife edge point, and then we can go through and just touch it up right there. Step number 2 is going through and drawing with straight lines. So we just do a basic block in, just with straight lines, no shadowing, no nothing, just straight lines. All right, so we're going to start, and when I'm looking, I want to look at the egg, and I want to imagine if I took a pencil and took it vertically and brought it across, where does it touch first, that edge? That's the inflection point right there on the egg, okay? So it's going to touch kind of around more of the bottom part for me. So we put a line going through here, another one going on the other side, and I'm really paying attention to the angle. You all might be saying, Lewis, how in the world do you draw with straight lines and make a circle? To which I say, I don't know. Just kidding. How you do it, essentially, and let me do a small demonstration here. If you have 2 lines, 1, 2, okay? There's the point. But if we go through and put another line going through this, the apex of them where they meet, okay? Look at that, it cuts it off. And we could essentially put another one going through that one. Do you see that? So you have this rounded curve, okay? Now let's do it again. And again. And what this trains us to do is trains our eyes to see subtlety of angles, right? And so if we're doing a figure, or if we're doing a face or whatever, the face, all it is, it's all these curves, it's angles, and you have to learn to see these angles. So we're learning to see those angles and see the subtleties of them. So here we go. The bottom, Now the top of the egg is going to be thinner than the bottom part. So I'm going to go through, I got 4 points now. Bottom part's going to be thinner, or I'm sorry, bottom part's going to be thicker. So 1, and I'm really trying to pay attention. And guys, I'm going to get into this stage right here. And ideally, you would really work it again at this stage. Okay, like you keep it here and keep on working it, correcting the lines. And I might do that a little bit. So there's 1, and this is why you don't set it up on your paper. You want to set it up a little bit further. But let's go through, here we go. Just like that. Look at that. And it's okay to carry your line through like that. Do you see that? So now, essentially, we have the basic shape of an egg with straight lines. All right, I could have probably done a straight line here and here, but you see how I just kind of broke it down, you break it down. All right, and so I have crisscrossing shadow shapes. I'm just gonna choose one because normally if you have one light shape, that's all you need, or one, I'm sorry, if you have one light source, you'll have one shadow shape going across, which is ideal. So I'm just gonna choose this one right here. Y'all can see it in the camera. And this time we're not gonna do like as sharp lines, we're gonna kind of do a soft line. I'm just looking, I'm really focusing on the angle and the distance. It's coming up a little lower than halfway, so kind of about here on my paper, and then it comes at this angle right here and kind of fades out that way, so it kind of fades out. All right, and so from here, we can go through and just lightly block the shadow shape in. So this is step 2. We just went through when we put basic lines in. Okay, let me darken this so you guys can see it. Okay, and this is how we go through when we exercise our mind to see shadow shapes. All right, and to see proportions. So at this point, we can go through and we can start cleaning this up just a little bit. Let's clean it up. It's always good to clean things up because I tell you, one of the habits that most of us have is we overwork the drawing. We have 5 billion different lines on whatever we're drawing, and instead of going through cleaning it up so that our minds can process what we see, and so that what we see is closer to what, or what we're drawing is closer to reality, oftentimes we go through and we try to darken the lines even further, which scars the paper, and so you have like 20 lines that are incorrect, you have one line that might be, and then like a dark line going around, and that's not a good thing. That's not the way to do it. Okay, so at this point now we can start going through and really refining, and so I'm going to go through and try to really correct this shape, this top part. I'm going to try to put kind of a slight curve on it. So look, I have this, I'm going to elongate that a little bit, and then I'm going to come across like this, and I am really trying to imagine these lines going through, like where they would go through. You have another line going that way, okay, and this is a hard one for me because I can't get my hand across because of that angle of the egg, or where the egg is, but there we go. Okay, and that's shaky, but we can clean that up. That's not a big deal. And then we have another one going this way. Okay, and then I'm gonna break this down just a little bit here. I'm gonna have one coming out this way, one coming this way. Okay, so let's clean this up before it gets out of control. So going through, and knife edge again. The knife edge, that's what I mean when I say knife edge, is this. I'm drawing with eraser at this point, and then you have this angle that's kind of popping out. And so this now is forcing us to really make a decision as to where the lines actually are. It's forcing us to see what's there. And this is a simple exercise, and you can do 1, 2, you can do 15, 20, and the more you do, the better you're gonna get, and you're gonna get this concept. I'm gonna be doing more videos as well, and it's gonna really help you to understand what I mean. It's gonna push your drawing game forward so much, and painting, oh, it's gonna do wonders with your painting. There we go. You just keep it nice and controlled, nice and light. And that's how we do it. Look at that. Let's round that off some. And so guys, another thing, a lot of artists, and it's okay to do this, they go through and just get the shape right off the bat, but oftentimes it's because they're trained. You see, you don't always need to do all these steps, but after a while from doing them, it trains your eye and you can see the shapes and you can press steps. And so you're able to go through, get the shape without having to go through necessarily with all these straight lines. Okay, you can go through, outline it because your mind understands shapes and angles better, and so you don't always need to draw them out at that stage once you're trained and such. And so I just want to let you guys know, it's not like every single artist draws this way or they have to draw this way. I got a little bit dark there, so I'm bringing that down. So at this point, we're just going to go through and we can start rounding this off some. Do you see what I'm doing here? And just lightly put it in. We just go through and we can really start working those edges up now. So now we can start rounding it some, as they say. As they say. There we go. All right, and guys, another thing really to keep in mind, I know a lot of people turn the paper as they go, and that's okay to do, and you can do that when you're sketching. But when you're looking at something like this and when you're really focusing on angles, if you're constantly turning the paper, it's going to make it harder for you to keep track of the angles because those angles are going to be turning as you turn the paper. Just a heads up. All right, so here we go, and at this point, this is now getting a little bit more refined, and what we can do is go through and start putting the shadow shape in, which is step 3. It's a basic shadow shape, all right? So I'm just going to use a hatching motion, which is, all that means is just a back and forth motion, okay? Cross hatching is when it goes like this, like a cross like that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it simple for now. And you'll notice that if you go through and put the shadow shape in at this point, you can carry on through here and kind of squint down as you do it. You'll notice that you might be able to see the shape better, and you might realize that you drew it too thin or you did it too wide or whatever, because when you put those shadow shapes in, it basically adds more information for your eye to judge off of, for your mind to understand what you've done, okay? Now notice I haven't gone through and really done a sharp shadow here because there is no sharp shadow on an egg. The light falls across it very evenly and slowly because the planes, which is the three-dimensionality of it, turns at a very gradual angle in space. And so you want to keep that soft. And so this is another thing, is you can try to keep within the lines as much as you can here, but it's also okay if you come out some and do this stuff. It's okay. The reason being, look, check this out. Going with a pencil. This is a pencil, right? You go in with an eraser and you just kind of hatch it out like that. That's how you do it. And look, obviously I drew the shadow shape absolutely perfect right off the bat. I never needed correct, but say I did need it correct because I'm just, I'm not talented like everybody else I trained with, right? Then all I have to do is just move this line down some. Like if this is too high, for example, you can go through and hatch it out like that. You can shape it with the eraser, you can draw with the eraser. If you want to bring it back up to where I had it before, we just go through and put it back in. Does that make sense? All right, guys. And this is a great exercise, again, to train your mind with. And at this point, you can continuously refine it, all right? And so I'll give you an extra step, which is step 4, is finding shapes within the shadow shapes. And those shapes will be darker and they might be lighter. And so we'll go through and we'll continue to refine. And this, my friends, is how I build a drawing up, whether it's a face or anything. It's an egg. It's not necessarily, it's not the most romantic thing to draw, but it's something that everybody can. It's a very simple exercise, and there's a lot of value to it. So now we're just going to work this up some. Guys, if you're enjoying this, consider subscribing and liking the video. And if you don't like it, dislike it, and tell me what I can do better in the comments below, and tell me what you would like to see me draw. I'd love to do a video on it, honestly. All right, guys, and at this point, if I wanted to, I can take my B pencil, and this is my technique that I do. I just go through with the B, and the B is going to be a little bit darker, so when I squint my eyes down, which unifies the shadow shapes, and I'm going to slowly just build the darks up in the area which it rests, so it really looks like that egg is sitting on the surface. And so this is how I'm going to work the drawing up using the B pencil. All right, guys, now we're gonna make it a little bit interesting and start going crosshatch. All right, so we're gonna go in the opposite direction just to give it a little bit more of a kick. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna go through with a harder pencil, and I'm going to go and try to soften the shadow shape and really get some light marks in it to make the shadows turn into the egg a little bit more. I'm doing this while squinting down. Squint down, it'll make it so much easier for you. All right, guys, so I hope you found that helpful. I'll be doing more videos like this, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Y'all take care.